Alright, welcome back to our channel. Today I have with me a super fresh out of the factory 2023 Mercedes C300. Look at the lines on this car. It's awesome. I had this car for a few days now in my hands. Been driving it around. Again, it's a fresh 2023 new body style. So it has a 255 horsepower engine. 295 pounds of torque. And this new model actually has the extra, I think, 48 volt battery, which gives it an instant 20 pounds of horsepower on demand. Look at the interior of this car. It is beautiful. I haven't even installed the floor mats on this car yet. Based on how it came with the AMG floor mats, this is definitely the premium model with the AMG line package. You can see the oversized screen in the front, which I'll show you in a bit, but I'm not a huge fan of it, only because almost everything is either touch screen or touch sensitive, and I hate that. It's not the best thing in the world, in my opinion. I personally don't like it. I had trouble, I would say, navigating around as I was driving. It kind of, I like having some physical buttons, let's say. I mean, it doesn't have to be all, and don't get me wrong, I do want to get with the times, and I do love the new dash monitor. While you're driving, I do wish it was a little more slanted upwards. Unfortunately, on the new C classes, you cannot change or alter the angle of your screen. Other than that, so far I like the car a lot. I have read other reviews about the suspension, and people don't like it too much. I actually like it. When you drive a C class, you don't want it to be too smooth. I mean, of course, it is a Mercedes, so at the same time, you don't want it jumping all over the place either. But to me, out of all the C classes I've driven, and I think I've driven every single model since about the year 2000, which is 23 years of C classes, and I mean other vehicles too, but out of all the C classes that I've driven, I like this one the best, suspension wise. Engine, again, I haven't really been able to push it too hard yet, so I can't say that it's what's the proper word? Again, I can't say that I've really got to experience how good or bad the engine is on this car yet. So far, it's pretty on par with what you would expect from a C class. I'll tell you that. It's not really much better than the older ones, and it's not least either. So I mean, do I wish that it had more juice? Yes, I do. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie about that. The model that I am driving right now, again, is the base C300. It is not the 4MATIC, which makes a big difference. It is not the C43 or 63, which are respectively the AMG models. I actually would like it a lot if it was I am going to start driving now, so let's see here. For this year's C classes, I believe there's only one choice of gearbox. All the C classes have the same 9-gear transmission. I did like the dual clutch 7 speeds on the older, like CLA, GLA, lower end models. But however, do I think it's worth the trade-off overall? The way the car is tuned and the engine with this 9-speed transmission, you actually get 36 miles highway. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, you can't beat that these days. Either you're gonna have a car that's gonna be super powerful and you don't worry about gas, or you want a car that does get really good gas mileage and still performs fairly well, which is the C class. I mentioned I like the suspension in this model the most out of all the C classes that I've driven. I can say the same thing about the seats. I love these seats. These seats are what's the proper word for this? They don't have as much cushion. However, they're designed so that it's still comfortable. They're ergonomically designed, I guess you can say. They're more of the sportier seats, so that it's not like a family car type seat. You have the bucket style seats, you have the headrest that move, you have the contour, you have the sides that keep you in place. I mean, the seats, you have the square bottom steering wheel, the build quality, the stitching. I mean, everything about this vehicle so far I like a lot. Again, if there's one thing I could change, I wish it had more juice, but that's something that you can remedy easily. You can get the higher AMG models. There's a 43 and an AMG 63, if I'm correct. I mean, in all fairness, 255 horsepower in a small car like this with 295 pounds of torque is not a little bit, but it doesn't have that much pull, especially off the line, as the older models did. But again, you got to remember the older models had 6-cylinder naturally aspirated engines, and they were tuned differently. They had a lot more raw power with the 6-speed gearboxes, which I personally like. But these days it's all about going green and consuming less energy, getting better gas mileage. Now, one subject back to what I was talking about, I am not a fan of these touch controls. I don't like it. It's really hard to adjust anything while you're driving. Again, it's doable, but you really have to take your eyes off the road to do this. I mean, I'm sure if you drive the car for years, it might get better, but for the time being, like even right now, I don't know how I can navigate through the menus or anything like that. It's even with CarPlay. I mean, with CarPlay, it's a little easier because I use CarPlay in all my vehicles, but if I didn't have CarPlay on right now, I would not even know how to literally, go to the navigation or change my music or change any settings for that matter. I mean, even these buttons here are not actual physical buttons. They're touch sensitive buttons. So the day I picked up the car, I remember trying to raise the volume and it went to full blast, and I tried to lower it and it went to mute. Little things like that. Secondly, even the seat controls are not actual sliding buttons like they used to be. They're touch sensitive. Not a big fan of that. I mean, I'm sure eventually most vehicles will kind of shift that way, or some kind of variance of that feature, but yeah, I don't like it. Some buttons have to click. I mean, I'm all for the touchscreen navigation and the touchscreen media center. Up to that, I'm fine, but some controls like your seats, AC, doorknobs, it's a different story. Couple big improvements there's actually a lock and unlock on the driver's side and the passenger side. That's huge. The older model CLAs, GLAs, the passenger side, they don't have a lock or unlock. I don't know why they left that out. I mean, it's as much as it's a lower end Mercedes, it's still a Mercedes, and that should definitely be a standard feature. Another thing I do like, it has the seat ventilation. I don't like to call them seat coolers because the seats don't really get cool. It does ventilate your seat, which I like. Overall, all in all, and again, I've heard a lot of people say this about this vehicle, it's kind of like a baby S-Class, if that makes sense. The lines on the car, the overall design, especially the rear tail lights and the new, inverted triangular tail lights. It's literally just like a smaller, I don't want to say just smaller because there are other differences too, but it's a baby S-Class, if that makes sense. And again, $50,000 I think this car is priced at, maybe a little more with the added options. It's not a bad car at all. I personally like it a lot. It's not one of those cars that you're gonna get bored while you're driving. My E350 is kind of like that. It doesn't have the raw power that the older E-classes had. It doesn't have the responsive suspension that the old E-classes had. So as much as I like my E-Class just because of how stylish it is, how luxurious it is, and how it's well-rounded, it's not fun to drive like this car. This car is actually really fun to drive, and I know this is probably my 10th time saying this now, but I think if you got a C43 or 63, this would definitely be a really good car really fun, especially long distance, or even just going to the grocery store. It's definitely a really good vehicle for the price. It's really not bad at all. One thing that I'm really big on and sensitive about is road noise and outside wind noise. This car is actually really good. I don't think, again, I know it's a little more pricier than the older C-classes, or for that matter, the CLAs and GLAs and other lower end Mercedes, but this car definitely has a lot more I don't want to say potential, but potential in terms of having it a long-term car, having it a fun car. Definitely safety ratings are up there. Horsepower, torque, it's all there. I just wish it had a little more power and it'd be a lot better. The car has maybe 30 miles now, so I haven't actually pushed it yet to where I've actually seen how good or not good this thing is. But you can tell from just regular driving how much juice you have off the line and how much juice you have just cruising, how much power you have on reserve, I guess you can say. But if you're looking for just a regular daily driver, luxurious and sporty, well-rounded, again, it's smaller than the E-Class and tuned differently than the E-Class. But again, personally, I like the build. I like the design. It's carbon fiber like trim, the leather, again, the stitching, the display dash. I mean, everything about it is pretty nice. The back seats, again, it's not an S-Class or an E-Class, but you can still fit quite a bit back there. I'm 6'1", and still I think the back seats may not be suitable for a 4-hour, 10-hour drive, but for standard, just getting around, shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's see what else, other takes on this vehicle. I like that Mercedes is still using the sliding system. Our BMWs have a cloth that's electronically controlled. I haven't had any issues with our current vehicles, but I know on the older vehicles they used to start to sag down, which I'm not a fan of. Build quality on this, again, it's, yeah, if you had to ask me to give it a score out of 10, again, based on value and how much you're paying for the car and what its competitors are out there, I would definitely give it at least a 7 out of 10. I personally like the way this car drives and feels a lot better than its main competitor, which would be BMW 3 Series or the Audi A4. There's a lot of different menu options on changing the dash because it's all digital. Just again, I know this whole design is the new thing. I see almost like car company doing this now, but if you want, in my opinion, if you could add a few knobs, at least for volume and some of the AC controls, kind of like a Porsche, that would be great. I haven't actually tried. I know there's a fingerprint sensor. I haven't actually tried that yet or programmed it, so I can't tell you how well or how not well that works. But yeah, I think that about sums it up for the video. So this was just a quick overview of what I think about the 2023 C300. Please feel free to let me know if you have any other opinions about the car, or if you've had it long term, let me know how you feel. Other than that, yeah, thank you for watching.